Right, okay, fan reaction time then. Burnley 0, Derby 0, and that was poor. Very poor. That was probably the worst performance of the season. I mean, I've cast some of them early ones out of my mind. You know, your Preston at home, your QPR at home, but that was up there with them. And that's the problem, because you feel, or I certainly did feel, and I think a lot of Burnley fans agreed with me, that over the last few weeks, over the last month, we had got better. We'd started making slow but steady improvements. Teams came and tried to play us in the low block and we beat them, Coventry. But then Derby have come today and just played the low block and said, come and break us down, and we just couldn't do it. We didn't look lightly, really, at any point, did we? There's a couple of moments, as Scott Parker says. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Brownhill chance in the first half, the Koleosho chance in the second half. Am I missing any? I feel like there should be more than that, but that's the problem. Like, even if there's one or two more than that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, with all due respect to Derby County, it's not enough. They came here having lost 3 games in a row. Did you see what Leeds did to them on Saturday? A team that we're apparently battling automatic promotion spots with. Leeds just brushed them aside. All right, they got slightly frustrated in the first 25, 30 minutes, did Leeds, but ultimately they brought them down and they were much the better side. Look at the stats for the game when Leeds played them on the weekend. They battered them. They absolutely battered them. And like I said, they've lost 3 games in a row, have Derby, until tonight. I don't know when the last time they kept a clean sheet were. I just seen on Twitter then, literally before I started recording this, it was about 10 games. Shock horror, you come to Burnley and you get the clean sheet. QPR hadn't got a clean sheet at any point this season until they came to the turf. We need to find a way to consistently break these sides down, or that's the difference between us finishing 2nd and 5th. Because playing like we did today, and huffing and puffing, as Parker put it, but not getting anywhere, not blowing the house down, is going to end up making us finish in the playoffs rather than the top 2. And then the playoffs are a lottery. Really, really are. You don't know. You could be playing a bizarre Watford side, you could be playing Blackburn, you could be playing a Sunderland side who've got great technical players in the middle. So you don't really want to be there. I don't anyway. But that were awful tonight. That was really, really poor. For the large part, I feel like tonight was on Scott Parker. I've backed him and I continue to do so. I know a lot of you who comment on these videos have already commented on Nathan's video and some of the tweets that I put out saying he's got to go. And you're going to give me stick now for saying this, and that's fine. But it's an overreaction to call for the manager's head after one poor performance. We're unbeaten in 7. All right, you'll be probably angrily typing now as I'm literally saying this. It's not one poor performance, so is it, Joe? We've played rubbish against all the teams that I've already just mentioned. I get that, but over the last month or so, since that Millwall game, we've got much better. But despite what I've just said, tonight is on Parker, in my opinion. I feel like he unnecessarily changed the team. The midfield, in my opinion, should be Sarmiento in the 10, Loren kind of like in between the both in that box-to-box role, and Cullen in the deep line, sort of like DM role, whatever you want to call it these days. I don't know, they change the name for it all the bloody time. That's the midfield 3 for me, with the wingers, well, front 4, wide forwards being, you know, the likes of rotating between, I say rotating, there's only Anthony and Koleosho, isn't there really, if you put Sarmiento in the 10. But the fact that he's constantly trying to... In fact, tell you what, obviously I know Sarmiento did start as a wide forward tonight and I still thought he played well. Thought he looked even better when he moved into the 10, but Sarmiento is obviously an option out wide. But the thing that baffles me the most about Parker, I know a million people have already said it, so this is hardly a hot take. Why is he insistent on playing Fleming as a number 9? We've seen all season, they've shown all season that it doesn't work. It doesn't work, and that's no shade on Fleming. I'm seeing Fleming getting stick on social media saying he's not good enough. Is this guy even a footballer? Don't blame Fleming, blame Scott Parker. Why is he being consistently played out of position? I know I've alluded to this before on the fan reactions, but he's played in the number 10 role for all of 8 minutes or whatever it was against Hull, scored the goal, got subbed off. Some people will say, oh, it's because we've got injuries up front. That's fine, but we still have 2 strikers. We've got 2 strikers on the bench. Yes, Jay might be ageing, and yes, Hontandre, although I thought he didn't look awful when he came on, he's not been given a chance as Andreas Hontandre, and I'd rather, what I would have done tonight personally is kept that midfield the same as what I've just said. Loren, Cullen and Sarmiento in the 10. I agree with the dropping of Koleosho, but I think if you play Sarmiento as a 10, there's no one really else to come in. So I understand what Parker's tried to do with that midfield, moving Sarmiento out wide to drop Koleosho. But play Fleming in the... If you're going to move Sarmiento, that's fine. But then play Fleming as a 10 in his natural position. And then play one of the 2 strikers you've got on the bench as a striker. It doesn't work playing a guy who isn't a striker as a striker. Everybody can see it. Apparently the Sky Sports commentators were alluding to it tonight as well. Somebody said on Twitter. I just don't get his insistence of playing certain people out of position. I just don't get it. And obviously by that I mean Fleming. I just don't understand that. That's the thing that's baffling me the most now. And that's the thing that's starting to wind me up with Scott Parker. We know it doesn't work. Everybody knows it doesn't work. He must know it doesn't work. He must have just thought, it doesn't work, but I'll give it one more chance. It must do. But I don't understand when you've got 2 strikers on the bench, you don't play one of them. Yes, Jay might not be able to play 3 games in a week, fair enough. So try Hontandre there. He's not really been given a fair crack of the whip yet. He might not look great sometimes when he comes on. I thought there was one moment tonight where I can see why we've signed him. I can see why we've signed him. And there's that one moment tonight where the ball looked like there were no chance we were going to get it. And it looked like Roadrunner or whatever it is, just zooming, and he got in front of the defender, and then when the ball was at his feet, that's when he messed it up. But you can see that he's got raw pace and like raw power. He's just not got a lot of technical ability. So what I would have done tonight is I would have played him up front with Sarmiento or Fleming in the 10. And then if you want to drop Koleosho because he's had a poor run of form, fair enough, then put Sarmiento and Anthony on the wide forward positions and Fleming in the 10. I just don't get this insistence on tinkering and doing things a little bit different from what's proven to work and then going back to the things that didn't work at the start of the season. That's the thing that's starting to wind me up now. But tonight was awful. We weren't good enough to beat them. We had moments, but we didn't create enough moments. If one of them goes in, we win the game, because there's no way Derby is scoring. They didn't even try and score. All right, they might have done a little bit of a commentary thing and suddenly started playing if they went 1-0 down. But I think our defence is more than capable of handling them. And that's another thing. Like, the defence was brilliant again tonight. Trafford didn't have anything to do, really, to be fair. But I thought Esteve, sorry, I got shouted at for saying it wrong last time. Esteve. And Humphreys looked good. I thought Roberts and Perez were decent. I thought the midfield was okay. I think Brownhill again. As soon as Brownhill's back in the midfield, we look disjointed again. Is it Brownhill or is it the fact that we're playing Fleming? That midfield three for me, I'm not one to sit here and say bin Brownhill off like a lot of people have. But I think the midfield has looked better, in my opinion, without him over the last month or so. And I know some of you will say, he's a top scorer, I get that, but for me, the midfield needs to just be that midfield three that I've mentioned already. But yeah, a frustrating performance tonight. I've only got Norwich next, who look really good going forward. However, if a defence can stop them, it's our defence. But we need to find a way to create chances, create more chances, have more moments, as Scott Parker likes to call it, because we didn't have enough moments tonight and it wasn't good enough.